Before you start cooking, it is important to read through your recipe first. This will give you more confidence on the steps and make sure that you have all the ingredients you need before you start the cooking process. The next crucial step is washing your hands. Wash your hands for at least 20 seconds and make sure to wipe down your surface areas to make sure you're starting with a clean slate before you start cooking. As French cooks say, get your mise en place. Make sure you have all your ingredients set out, ready to use with the tools you will need to finish the recipe. Because I read my recipe first, I know I need to preheat my oven to 400 degrees and get out a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. Parchment paper is a non-stick baking paper that makes cleanup an absolute dream. Using beans as a protein source is pretty easy. Just remember to rinse them off before cooking. Now we're ready to start prepping the vegetables. Having a sharp knife is absolutely crucial. Believe it or not, it's actually safer and more efficient, so you can get through your prepping faster. Notice how I am holding the knife. My finger and my index finger are pinching the top of the blade, and I have a firm grip on the handle. I see people using their finger and stretching it outright. This is not helpful. This is going to take away the strength of the knife and limit your ability to chop. You want to pinch the blade. And don't use the top of the knife to chop. You want to use the back end. So you're going to use a rhythmic motion that's using the back of the knife. A good rule of thumb is to pick a knife similar in size to what you are trying to chop. So let's see this in action. Let's cut an onion. So we want to get that outer shell off, and the easiest way to do this is to cut it in half first. Put it on the flat side and cut off one end. This makes peeling the outer layer of the onion much easier. Don't feel like you have to get just the paper. You can get the whole first layer of the onion. Once the paper is removed, put on the flat side and cut with a straight blade, trying to get equal distance in between your slices. Curl back your fingers to prevent yourself from accidentally nicking your finger. Now pinch the onion and twist to the side. Now you're going to cut at an angle to dice this onion, cutting almost like around the rainbow. And I like to switch it around to make it easier on myself. The more you practice cutting onions, the better and more efficient you will become. And there you go. You have diced onions. The recipe calls for grated zucchini. So we're going to take a cheese grater or a regular block grater and shred the zucchini. Be careful to not nick your finger. Now it's time to mash up our chickpeas, also known as garbanzo beans. We're looking for a rough mash here. So if we were to put it into a blender, it would become hummus. We're looking for more of a rough mash. So use a potato masher, and you can see it's roughly mashed. Use a cup measurement for 1 cup of oats. Make sure you get to the very top. Same with a tablespoon, a big T of garlic, granulated garlic. We don't want to do less than a tablespoon or more than a tablespoon, so make sure it's level. Now this is 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. And notice I'm avoiding pouring my spices over my bowl just in case I, overfill it and it goes into the batter. We want to do it beside the bowl rather. So now we're putting in 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt and some black pepper and 3 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. This vinegar is going to add a nice tanginess to our burgers. And we've got 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. This healthy plant fat is going to add protein and healthy fats, as well as get the burgers to really stick together well. And then 1 teaspoon of mustard. We're going to put everything together and mix very well, using our hands to combine so we make sure that peanut butter gets throughout the entire mixture. It's really important that we taste test what we are cooking to make sure that it is indeed good before serving it. This flavor tasted good and I was ready to patty these. So we're going to take about 3/4 of a cup of the mixture and round it into a ball, like you're making a snowball. That will help you get a nice packed, tight patty. And then form it into a patty shape and help form it on the baking sheet to make sure that it's put together well and that it won't fall apart. These burgers stay together pretty well as long as you make sure to pack them like that snowball first and then into patties. We're ready for the oven. So pop it in your preheated oven and put the timer on for 20 minutes. The timer is our friend. It's going to help us remember that we have something in the oven and prevent any burning or forgetting about it. It's very helpful to clean as you cook. So put ingredients away, wash up dishes while you're waiting for the next step of your cooking process. It's easier to clean dishes when the food is fresh anyways. So get those dishes done while you're waiting for things to cook, and it won't feel as overwhelming after dinner. We want to give these burgers a nice flip and stick them back in the oven for another 10 minutes. Once that 10 minutes is up, they should be nice and ready to eat. But in the meantime, I'm going to get some toast going so I can have a nice sandwich with a little mayo. And then I like to put some cucumbers and tomatoes and greens on my sandwich. They look nice and golden brown. Serve my burger and taste test it. See how I did. It was pretty good. I definitely enjoyed my burger. So I would love to hear if you could try this in our Cardinal homes or for your own family. Just make sure to clean up the kitchen and leave it better and nicer than you came into it. It's so much better to come into a clean kitchen to cook. Just remember, cooking gets easier with the more practice you have. I appreciate your time and attention and hope you can try out this recipe for yourself.